All right, Peyton. So I think the last time I talked to you, we were just doing some groundwork on Gambler, and now it looks like you're all saddled up.
So yeah, a few weeks ago, have you guys seen, we started with him like desensitizing and everything, getting him used to stuff around him. And we also started putting a saddle and a saddle pad on him, getting him used to having stuff on him, the pressure and everything. I think last week I did get on him for the first time, but it wasn't really a big thing, you know, just trying to get him used to having someone on him and building trust between me and him and everything. But today I decided to ride him for a little while. Cody's been pulling me out, you can see she's been using the lead rope, but you guys are gonna get to see me ride him without Cody leading me for the first time, which is gonna be pretty cool. I have the confidence with him and he's doing amazing. Like, he's a totally different horse from the first time I started working with him, and I'm so proud of him. So we're gonna see that, and I'm really excited. So yeah, I'm ready.
Nice. You're loose.
When he's not going the direction you want, just try to turn him the other direction. It doesn't matter what way you got him going right now. Just try to get him moving. Good job.
I would admit I was a little nervous because I didn't know what he was gonna do, but this time it did feel right, and I was ready.
Would you ever believe you rode him in a halter
No.
this quick?
Like, it just never hits me that I train horses for a job. Like, it's like also a dream, because like I always wanted to do that since I was like younger, but like now it's happening. And especially it's wild Mustangs too. Like, it'd be different if it was like horses that weren't, you know. It's just
I can't say the word now.
Oh, at least he backs up great, I guess.
Huh?
I was like, at least he backed up.
Were you pulling back to make him back up?
I mean, I did, and he did. So.
See if he backed. So she's just about done now. We're gonna finish up. He's done real good. This is pretty much his first real ride, so we don't want to do too much on the first one. So I told her he's not doing exactly what she asked right now, so I told her to keep riding him until he does good, does what you want him to do, and then you can stop, get off, loosen your saddle, and we can put him up. You always want to stop on a good note. You never want to stop on a bad note, because when you get off of it and you put them up, they think about what they did and what's going on, and if it's a bad note, they're going to continue to do bad. If they do good, they're going to try to learn something, and they're going to think about that, and so the next time they know a little bit more.
Hi, Mama. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Very good job. This is Zita Checks. She is a chestnut quarter horse mare. She came in as an owner surrender, and she has had on and off lameness issues since she came in. She's got pretty severe hoof cracks. She became acutely lame just a couple of days ago on her right front leg. And what I'm seeing today is actually a significant improvement over Tuesday. She was laying down a lot, her heart rate was in the 70s, and we had her on 3 different pain medications, to try to get her comfortable. Her GI sounds had slowed down a little bit, so I was concerned about that. So her gut sounds were great this morning. Her mucous membranes were really nice and moist. Her capillary refill time was more normal. And her resting heart rate before her morning pain medication was 52, which is elevated but much better than 70. And it's come down to about 44, which upper end of normal is upper 30. So we're close to being normal. What we're planning on doing today is taking these wraps off. We're gonna just take a look at everything. We're gonna use our thermal imaging camera to see if we can pinpoint an area. I suspect she has an abscess, and we're gonna soak her right front foot. In a perfect world, we'll find an abscess tract and I'll be able to open it. And usually once you have that tract open, they have some immediate relief. Yay! It ruptured.
Nice.
Super happy with that. Could not be happier. This is
Probably why
fantastic.
There were so many flies on that leg.
Yes. Can you smell it? I can smell it. See how the swelling is coming all the way up here? But like that is definitely a ruptured abscess tract. Yay, ma'am, I'm so happy for you. That's good news. Whew, I can smell the infection. If we can get a decent sample, I'd love to culture it. Shoo! Yeah, can you smell it? Yeah. I'm hoping we're gonna have like a trickle of discharge. Hi. But let me collect a swab just in case we don't get a sample. So we are at 86, and the rest of the coronary band is 92. So we actually have a cooler temperature, probably because of the heat coming out, but the right front foot is just warmer in general than the left front. Hi, you're not sleepy at all. This is a beautiful example though, you guys. When we give Dorm first and then we give Torb, we see horses go from being like still reactive to like, and I just gave butorphanol, which is an opiate type pain medication, and she's wide awake. Hi, you're a good girl. Good girl. Abscesses are pretty common in horses, but unless you have a really obvious bulge or a really obvious response to hoof testing, you can't just like dig holes in a hoof willy-nilly. A soak is a very commonly prescribed treatment for owners to do at home. It really helps your vet out. There's two things in this soak. One of them is just Epsom salts, just regular old Epsom salts that you buy at the grocery store. I don't like the ones with the smells in them because sometimes they have extra stuff. So these are plain Epsom salt. The salt is going to help pull that infectious material off and also soften up the area, which I'm about to cut open to help that infection drain more easily. And then the other thing I put in here is chlorhexidine. The product that we use is called Nolvasan, but it's just an antimicrobial. Betadine works really well for this too. So if you're a horse owner and you need to soak your horse's foot because you think they have an abscess, you can get both of those things over the counter. Temperature of a foot soak is really important. So today I have this as warm as she'll tolerate because I already know where that tract is and I want to kind of open it up. But when I soaked her before, I had it really cold. I actually put ice into it because she was very, very painful and she wasn't close to rupturing out anywhere. So my goal was to reduce inflammation. And then sometimes the really hot part, the heat will come back more quickly, which it didn't do, unfortunately, on Tuesday. So if you soak them in ice and then you stand them for a while, sometimes the part that gets the hottest soonest is a helpful diagnostic. And we're going for 10 minutes. Good job. Good girl. Sometimes animals have to undergo periods of discomfort and you have to go, this isn't great, but we're gonna wait this out because our top differential was an abscess. Like, we've ruled everything else out. That looks beautiful, Nicole. I'm really happy with the outcome of today. Zita checks did have an abscess. It had ruptured out overnight, which is exactly what we were hoping was gonna happen. It ruptured right at the coronary band of her right front foot, which is the margin between where the haired skin ends and where the hoof wall opens. Unfortunately, it is a very innervated part of the body, so it definitely is gonna continue hurting, but her heart rate was way lower even before we started. And in my opinion, that's because the pressure of that abscess had already been relieved. So I was able to open it more using some of our surgical tools and establish a good spot of drainage. We soaked her foot in some Epsom salt and chlorhexidine, and then we put a kind of it's not really a wet to dry bandage. There are kinds of bandages that are designed to suck stuff out and then have enough padding available so that the gross stuff has somewhere to go underneath the bandage. So if you can't do that kind of bandage, it's better to leave it open. So often, if this horse were at a farm and the owners were like, there's no way I can wrap the foot, I would say soak it every day and just leave it open. But in this case, we were able to do that kind of bandage. You can see how much more comfortable she is. Yesterday, she wasn't even willing to put weight on her foot, and now she's willing to put weight on that foot. So I'm very happy. Her blood work was normal, so we're not gonna do systemic antibiotics. We're treating everything locally. We are gonna keep her in our hospital through the weekend in a really heavily bedded stall and closely monitor her. She's gonna continue to be on pain medications. And she's scheduled for a bandage change on Monday, but I'm around this weekend, so I'm her backup person if she needs veterinary attention through the week. So I'm very, very happy. I'm gonna put her back out in her stall, and that was really best case scenario.
Lowe's just pulled up. It seems like we're always building something around here. Well, this time we're building a small addition on the side of the education center, and it's going to be a smaller like conference room, and then it's also, I think, going to have some office space in it. And it's just a tiny little thing. It's going to take like a few days. It's not a big project, but it's something that needs to get done. And now that the small animal clinic is getting the drywall finished up, I have a few minutes to get this done. I don't know where I find the time, but got to do what you got to do. And just like that, it's done, and I didn't have to lift a muscle.
So it's about time for me to leave here, but I had to stay because I had to see this pretty boy. I've been talking to his owner that has recently surrendered him for all the best reasons, and she trusted us with Boomer, and we are so excited to get him off this trailer. He's supposed to be a sweet boy, and he's come all the way from New Mexico, so y'all stay tuned. He used to be a racehorse, and he fractured his knee, I believe, or a part of his leg, and he recovered from it, and he's just been a pasture pet, and he's just ready for us to unload him, I'm sure. Hi, pretty boy. Are you so excited? Let's go. Go on. So we've got these bags here from Boomer's owner, his mama, and she brought us his stuff, his blankets, his halters, some bags, his hay that he's used to, and he is set up. And we're very excited. We're gonna get Dr. Lydia to look at him, hopefully tomorrow, because I think she'll be here tomorrow. And got his surrender forms and all that good jazz, and we're really excited when surrenders come in, especially whenever you have a connection with our owner, because you've been talking to him for 2 weeks about it, you know. And so we take pride that people trust Horse Plus with their horses. And it means a lot when they come from a long ways, because they could have taken them anywhere and they brought them here. And, but anyways, that's all for today, and I'm gonna head out and go home. Bye.
All right, Dr. Lydia. So I've pretty much been going around to a bunch of our staff, and with the Big Lick event that's going to be happening pretty soon.
Yep.
I wanted to ask a few questions.
Sure, go for it.
In regards to Big Lick. I guess before you even got here at Horse Plus, had you heard of anything about Big Lick?
Nope. So I'm aware of Tennessee walking horses. Actually, when I was a very young child and didn't have a horse, somebody gave me a magazine that had Tennessee walking horses in it, and I would cut them out and make little things out of them. So I knew Tennessee was famous for horses. I had heard of Tennessee walking horses as a breed. Never heard of the Big Lick before I came to this job.
I used to think of just like a big fancy horse show. You know, that's all I ever seen. My aunt lives in Shelbyville and stuff, but I didn't know there was that much abuse to it. I was pretty ignorant to that, like the chemical burns and all that.
I knew they did the chains and stuff, but I didn't know that they did, and the stacks, but I never knew anything about the chemicals, and that's cruelty. When I was a kid, I remember running around the celebration. I don't remember why I was there, maybe with some friends or something, but we never really paid attention to the show. We just ran around, so yeah, I really didn't pay much attention to that.
Keith realized that that's what the horse shows were that he went to when he was younger. But you know, you don't know what's happening. Like you just don't understand.
I've been going to the protest since I was about 10 years old. I'm 20 now, so just about right about 10 years. So it's been very interesting.
What comes to mind when you hear the term Big Lick?
Now when I think about it, I just think about animal cruelty. They got the big stacks and the chains and the chemicals, and that's just cruelty. That's where my mind goes.
Ultimately, just the abuse that comes out of the big lick. Obviously, there's flat shod, which doesn't contain as much abuse, which we do support. Flat shod is a very beautiful gait that they can still do even if the stacks and chains do disappear. So it's not going to be entirely ruined for everybody.
It just reminds me of a circus. And then the costumes that the people are wearing and stuff, to me it reminds me of movies that you've seen, like Gone with the Wind or something like that, where they're the plantation owners.
What do you think even attracts people to these events?
I think the reason why people are still attracted to these events is because their mama grew up going to it and her mama grew up going to it, and it's just a tradition that people have been doing for many years, and a lot of people don't even realize what it is, yet they're still going.
I don't know what attracts the people, but the people that's doing the big league riding and stuff, they want to see who can get their legs up the highest.
I think they just glamorize it, you know, and sensationalize it, and it's just, they take all the things that are supposed to be pretty and put them out front, and they don't show any of the negative stuff behind it.
They don't show the ugly stuff, just the cool stuff.
So I feel like if more people knew what it entails, you know, fully, they would be more against it.
Yeah, it's not as popular, which we're really thankful for.
Yeah.
I think the first time we went to a protest, I don't know, it was just so shocking to me. Like, I had never seen anything like this before.
This is the first year that we actually witnessed the violence there to the people. I mean, to horses, I mean, that's just a given, but
The anger and the meanness. Like, I know that animal abuse and people abuse go together, but I still didn't expect that kind of reaction,
No,
that kind of
not.
hate.
As I was going up by the grandstands and stuff, people were calling me names and telling me I was uneducated and stuff like that.
Tar Heels Irresistible, who our supporters named Footloose, was my first shocking direct exposure to these horses. I'd heard a lot about it. I haven't been able to make it to the protests. I just have a family and a lot of responsibilities, so I hadn't come to those. But I was able to see and treat and try to save Tar Heels. We really tried with him when he was here. One of the hardest things for me in dealing with, I'm gonna call him Footloose, because that was his new name when he came here, with Footloose, was that he was dissociated to the point that he almost wasn't mentally present. And that is, it's hard enough when your patients can't speak, but as a veterinarian, I'm pretty used to reading facial expressions and body movements, and horses are very expressive, communicative animals, even ones that have had a lot of trauma. One of the things that I have heard, and again, this is based on what I have heard, I've not observed this, is that in the training for these big lick horses, they initiate a noxious stimuli, and then they basically use operant conditioning to train these horses not to respond. And we saw that with Footloose, where any normal horse would have moved away from something uncomfortable. We knew from the diagnostics that he had some pathology, and he literally did not respond at all, no response. One of the only indicators with him was his heart rate. So heart rate increases in response to a painful stimulus. I think you can't understate how incredibly harmful mentally incapacitating an animal is. It's really unfair to take a prey animal and train them so severely that something hurts and they just don't respond.
Yeah, we couldn't go over there. You can't watch them inspect horses. That always throws up a question to me.
You're not allowed back where the horses are. You know that. I mean, it's the one over in Columbia here. It's held at a public fairgrounds and stuff like that, but yet there are certain areas they won't let you go back. It's a public fairgrounds, but they have the sheriffs there and stuff like that that will enforce.
You can't go back there.
Go back there.
Trail places 17 and under, class 20, you go next.
Any fairs that you go to, you walk through the barns and stuff like that, you see the animals and things like that. And here, you're not allowed to do that, you know. It's just something, they're hiding something, you know, and they know they're hiding it. That's why they don't want people back there.
I did pull up the Horse Protection Act that was passed in 1970. Somebody recently was like, no, that was like 2022. And I was like, no, it was in the 1970s. So I've worked with USDA a good bit. Dr. Gina used to work for USDA. I'm very thankful for our country's regulatory agencies. This act passed in the 1970s means this was a really severe problem, enough that they could get the funds and get the momentum to pass this. The term sore, when used to describe a horse, means that there's an A, B, C, or D. A, an irritating or blistering agent has been applied internally or externally by a person to any limb of a horse. B, any burn, cut, or laceration has been inflicted by a person on any limb of a horse. C, any tack, nail, screw, or chemical agent has been injected by a person into or used by a person on any limb of a horse. Or D, any other substance or device has been used by a person on any limb of a horse, or a person has engaged in practice involving a horse, and as a result of such application, infliction, injection, use, or practice, such horse suffers or can be reasonably expected to suffer physical pain or distress, inflammation, or lameness when walking, trotting, or otherwise moving. That's pretty severe. I mean, for a legal document to include that degree of detail, tacks, nails, screws, burn, that just sounds like prehistoric torture. Why in 2025 we are continuing to have people implement practices that were illegal in 1970, why we are buying tickets and going to watch an exaggerated artificial gait that is induced by a painful practice. Why are we doing that?
They aren't in it for their horses. They don't really care about their horses at all. They're all just there for the money that comes with it, and they're a little tight-knit group of people that get the money from sponsors and whatnot, and ultimately that little blue ribbon. We see a lot of throwaway horses from the big lick shows here at Horse Plus. A lot of them are broken down, and 99% of them can't make it through intake because of the abuse they've gone through, and their bodies are just living in pain.
What do you think is going to stop the big leg?
I think it's legislative side. We can protest all we want, but all the real laws are going to be changing is when we're lobbying up in DC or Texas or really anywhere we can. We can't do it alone, so we really do need the government's help in this situation, because we've been doing it for 10 years. There is a dramatic decrease in numbers going to these shows. Like this last year, the parking lot was basically empty next to us that we're protesting. Usually that little parking lot behind us is basically full where we can't even find parking. And this last time it was like empty.
We're seeing progress, but it's going to take time. It's going to take people talking about it. I just looked at a recent post. I'm trying to remember. It was a post on Facebook, and it was advertising for this big lick event coming up in Shelbyville. And there are a bunch of people on there talking about how this is abuse. And I think that makes such a big difference. I think I had 387 comments when I looked, and I was like, I wonder what they're saying. And it was a lot of people just in there saying, hey, this is abuse, this is wrong. And I think that public outcry of, hey, this is abuse, it takes the normalcy out of it.
And I just want to challenge you, if you're somebody who's a big lick supporter watching this, there are people who have reevaluated historical, cultural practices and gone, you know what? That wasn't great for animals. We thought this was appropriate. We loved these animals. We now know that there are better ways to do this. I love Tennessee walking horses. I own a Tennessee walking horse. I think the intentional breeding that was done to create an animal with this beautiful long gait is incredible. Why are the prizes for the exaggerated big lick type horses tens of thousands of dollars? And these natural Tennessee walking horse shows that are much more ethically done and much more natural, $300. You know, I read a paper and it's like, Why are we supporting something that, in my opinion, is barbaric and outdated? Why can't we as a general public look at the Tennessee walking horse and say, this is Tennessee. We are proud of this horse. We're proud of this genetic combination that resulted in this amazing animal. Why are we condoning something very unnatural and very uncomfortable? And if you look at everything Tanya and Jason have done, they are not protesting Tennessee walking horses. They're not protesting the gaits that Tennessee walking horses possess. They're not protesting shows in general. They are targeting the Big Lick. The Horse Protection Act of 1970 was specifically written for the Big Lick and the practices therein. So yeah, think about it. Look at pictures. I recently read a book that knocked my socks off and is so inappropriate I had to stop reading multiple times on the way tails are cut and set and the training methods that teach these horses to stand still and to not react and to lift their legs really high. It's really disturbing. So I'm a big believer in finding information out for yourself. So if you're watching this and you're going, what is going on? Please look and please have conversations. And hopefully we can make a change, and hopefully we can get these beautiful horses to a place where they can heal physically and mentally from the damage that happened in the past and make a change. Boomer was such a perfect boy today for his vet exam. We expected to find some pretty gnarly arthritis in his right knee, and we did. But otherwise, I think he's very comfortable as a pasture pet. So he will not be adopted out into a home that's ever gonna ride him. But he has just lovely manners. And I think somebody's gonna love this horse. He's only 14. We are going to schedule him for a series of Nex HA injections. It's the same concept as taking like a chondroitin glucosamine supplement to help with joint health. But when you inject it, it's more bioavailable. And the product that we're giving is a polysulfated glycosaminoglycan, PS GAGs. You don't need to remember that. No one will test you on it. But basically it improves the viscosity of the joint fluid and it helps reduce inflammation at the source. So I really like the product. It's very expensive and we have to be discerning with who we use it in shelter medicine. I don't make Horse Plus any money, which my boss reminded me the other day. I just spend money. But I think it will help this boy be more comfortable. And it is something that we can do a series of here. And then he really probably won't need another one except for like annual support. So we're also gonna put him on this supplement, which Sin Nutra donates a ton of products to us, which we're really thankful for. I'll be really honest, I don't always use donated products. So I try to thank people, but I actually really like these products and have used them in my own horses. So I'm not just saying this because we got this for free. We actually like it. So this is a glucosamine, chondroitin, hyaluronic acid. All of these things are joint support. And then these biotin and some of the trace minerals are kind of more hoof support and general immune system support. So thank you for donating this product to us. We're gonna put him on this, and I'm hopeful that we don't have a lot of people who wanna come adopt pasture pets, but he's just lovely and easy to catch and a really good boy and doesn't have major concerns, so I don't think he's gonna be a really expensive horse to maintain as a pasture pet, and he's gorgeous. So yeah, you're a good boy. I know, are you ready to go back outside?
We're heading off to go protest the Big Lick over at Shelbyville at the celebration, and Justin's been working hard getting a bunch of people to come. And what do you got to say about people coming?
Well, everyone that comes, we really appreciate you. You know, it's going to make a huge difference, especially after the things that happened last time. So we really appreciate everyone that's coming.
Yesterday I was on the phone with the Shelbyville Police Department, and they're sending out at least a couple officers to keep the peace. And these are not paid for by the show. They're actually paid for, you know, they're just regular cops on duty. Yeah, they're on the city payroll, so hopefully they're impartial. Hopefully it's completely peaceful. We always want it to be a peaceful protest. The only thing law enforcement asks is obviously that we don't impede traffic, which that's not what we do. We're there peacefully protesting for the horses. Unlike those that are abusing the horses, we're there to be peaceful and make our voices heard. So yeah, we're out of here. We're leaving here in just a little bit and gonna go let our voices be heard.
It's quite amazing. I think this is the biggest crowd we've actually had here. We're breaking records right now. It's so good to see.
We are so thankful for each and every person who came to be the voice for horses. As many of you know, in May we were protesting, we were documenting the big lick, and 3 of us ended up in the emergency room. So there's strength in numbers, and that's what the horse community is showing, that we don't want our horses to be abused. They should be shown for their natural abilities. So we're so grateful for everyone who came out today and is being the voice for horses.
I watched the live protest for a long time on YouTube, but this is my first official one in person. It's super exciting, got a ton of people here, and it's just awesome. Everything comes to mind, like it is total abuse, like they are torturing these animals and they don't have a voice and so they can't get out of it. And so we need to stop this abuse.
I've held one of those blocks on those horses' hooves, and you would not believe how heavy they are. And these poor horses' legs are being just decimated by that. And I came all the way from Boston, Mass. Down to protest this abuse, because it means a lot to me.
Big League is abuse!
People are not really liking it. We've been flicked off. We've been cussed out. People have just been really, really rude out here, but we're loving it and we're still going to protest and fight against this animal cruelty.
I took the day off work and had planned to come down about a week ago, and then I found out Sunday that my daughter-in-law was having a go-away party for my granddaughter who's going to college tonight, and I talked to her and told her this was important to me, and she understood, so I chose to come here instead. I think it has to be legislated. We can stand out here and educate people, and that might help a little bit, but I think it's the legislature's going to have to do it.
I talked with more people that knew trainers, and the trainers, you know, they would just lie to the people, and one man apparently saw that his horse was abusing, or his trainer was abusing his horses. He called his family and said, "We're getting him out of the stable." He didn't make it home. Nobody found out what happened to him other than he died at the side of the interstate. These people do not fool around. You do not stay separated. You stay in a group around these people. These people are thugs. Maybe not all of them. There's a lot of innocent people here who come for the show. They don't know any better. It's died down, the controversy. I'm finding more people do not even know what it is. They say, "What are you talking about with the big lick gate?" And I show them pictures and they are horrified. And then they said, "But I thought that stopped." And I said, "No, they've just gotten better at hiding it. The blood doesn't stream down the horse's legs as badly as it used to." I mean, when I was a kid, I watched Sam Pascal kicking dirt on the horse's legs because they were bleeding so badly. The grooms know. The children of these trainers know. My grandmother's trainer, his daughter and I were around the same age, and she took me back in the barn, and he said to her, did you take her back there?" And he was going to, get after her, and she said, "Oh, Daddy." She didn't say anything. I did. I saw a little, but not much. I was a child. I didn't really catch some of what was going on. There have been people that, like me, and there was another lady, I can't remember her name right now, who her life was threatened and her animals' lives were threatened, and they tried to burn her barn down. These people are not nice. They beat a horse down to the ground right in front of my mother, my grandmother, my father. Everybody saw it. And they said, it didn't happen. We asked everybody, and they interviewed the people, and the people said, "We didn't do it." I saw it. My grandmother saw it. And she said, "This is horrible." But nothing changed. Nothing changed.
We are going to be wrapping up and closing down the protest, but we're so grateful for each and every person who came out, and we're really excited because we're pushing forward a momentum that's going to keep going. And this attack that happened to us in May, when it happened, I was like, they attacked the wrong people. Like, you attack people that are being the voice for innocent horses, you're gonna cause a storm to happen, and this is just the beginning of the storm. So, really excited about everyone coming out and being the voice for horses.
At the Spring Jubilee, where Tawny, Justin, and I were attacked, and my phone was stolen, my nose was broken, Justin was banged all up, Tawny had some bruising. Well, 2 of those people were arrested last night The night before we came to the celebration to protest, they were arrested and booked into the Murray County Jail. They bonded out, but they had big bonds, and they are both facing felonies. One of them was for felony theft of an item over $1,000 because of my phone, and literally this tether was hanging out of her pocket, and that's how we can easily prove she took my phone, not to mention the screen grab of her grabbing it and the YouTube live of her face as she picks it up. But the guy that broke my nose, he's facing aggravated felony, aggravated assault. And then the other person that attacked Justin, we don't know exactly what he's being charged with, but he's going to be booked up and arrested very soon. So super excited that they went to jail. Like, that is the justice we needed. Now the court case is going to take its time. I don't know exactly how long before we have more information, but so excited. They're both facing felonies, and the protest today was amazing. We had about 24 people out here. We had a lot of noisy people out here. We're making an impact. We're letting our voices heard for the horses that have no voice. Big lick is abuse.